everyone. Welcome to Siemens and welcome to SIPLACE. Thanks for stopping by the booth today. We're really glad to see you here. Thanks for your visit. What you're about to see is a quick 5-minute demonstration of the world's fastest changeover. It's going to happen right here in this corner. We're excited to show you that, but before I do, let me bring your attention to just a couple of other really important things going on in the booth. While you're here, you'll be sure to want to see the new SIPLACE X4i placement machine. That's the machine located right here immediately to your left with the output board right above it. This machine sets a brand new world record. It has a throughput of 120,000 components per hour. It's not every day you get to see a world record set, so you'll be sure to want to see SIPLACE X4i right over here. Also, we want to be sure to give you a copy of what we're calling our compare checklist. You can pick one of these up right here at the desk. This is for your reference while you're exploring the show floor. As the name implies, it's a vendor-neutral decision-making tool for you to help you compare and contrast feature for feature, spec for spec, all the various solutions here on the floor. So we hope you'll find this helpful. So now, back to this corner of the booth. Again, those of you just joining us, we're about to see the world's fastest changeover. You're about to see a very powerful software tool called SIM. That's S-I-M. It's an acronym that stands for SIPLACE Inventory Manager. Now, you're usually accustomed to seeing Siemens demonstrating hardware, but today we're going to show you some very powerful software that drives these high-speed machines. It'll enable the highest possible uptime available. Regarding equipment, what will be involved in the demo? The SIPLACE X3 machine. You may have a few of these on your line now. This is the offline docking unit for verification. This plays an important role. And then be sure and keep your eye up here because this is the real-time live output display, of the PDA that our operator Jason will be using. What this software allows you to do is 3 things, at least. Manage your changeovers and optimize your uptime. Secondly, it's going to show the material levels of inventory throughout your entire factory. And then third, allow for material traceability throughout your entire factory. So let's begin the demo. Ken, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Darlene.
It's a pleasure to introduce Ken Ritchie. Ken is our SIPLACE training manager for all of the Americas, so no one knows more than Ken. Right, Ken?
I try.
Get us started and show us what's going on.
Well, we're going to show you how you can run all of your key functions in your operation with the use of one easy-to-use PDA. We're going to focus on inventory input to begin with, and we're going to be using this inventory input function of SIM. Now we have Jason here scanning in the reels into our inventory. Now if you look at the user interface up above, you'll see the part number and quantity is registered for every part that he scans in. Now once he scans all those parts in the inventory, that information is kept in the system and kept throughout the production process.
Okay, so step 1 inventory, scanned it in, we've got it in the system. Now the next step, when we get it on the shop floor, Ken, do we load it right into the system, or is there some kind of offline setup that takes place?
Well, we want to be as efficient as possible. Therefore, we want to do offline setup verification. Now we're going to do that using our offline docking unit. The offline docking unit has the changeover table mounted into it. The feeders are on the table. The components have been loaded into the feeders. Jason with the scanner is going to come over, he's going to scan the barcode on the docking unit, scan the barcode on the table, and then he's going to begin the verification. Now if you look up above on the user interface, you'll see that items shown in white are not used for this particular setup. Feeders shown in blue are feeders that need to be verified, and feeders shown in green are parts that are verified. Now as he scans them in, you can see it change from blue to green. Also, on the feeders themselves, they have an LED on the front of them that's red until he scans it in and it turns green. Once they've all turned green and all green on the PDA, offline setup verification is now complete.
Okay, so again, those of you just joining us, world's fastest changeover. We scan the inventory in via the PDA and the SIM software, offline verification. Show us the actual changeover, if you will.
Well, Darlene, we're going to start the changeover with a download from our SIPLACE Pro line control user interface. Once he's downloaded the recipe to the machine, the pickup position and pitch is then downloaded to the feeders, therefore eliminating another common error that can occur in production. Also, the operator is notified on the PDA that a download has occurred. That way they know that they've received the download and they're ready to verify. And this is going to come over, and once he's received the download, he's going to scan in the components to be verified. Simply grabs it, scans in the barcode on the reel, it goes from blue to green. Once they are all green, we've got one more to scan here. Turns in green. Once they're all green, we're ready to go.
Green is good.
Green is always good.
Okay, so we've changed over. As you can see, we're running a new product. How can the system help an operator to keep the line running as efficiently as possible hour after hour?
Well, SIM has a great item on it. It's called the hit list.
The hit list.
The hit list.
Tell us about the hit list.
Well, this hit list can inform the operator of parts that need to be refilled. For example, if we look at the user interface above, we can see that there's a quantity of 30 components left on this reel. That's enough to complete 7 boards. Also, the item in red shows what part needs to be refilled next. Now, this information is extremely important, especially with the SIPLACE X4i. Our SIPLACE X4i line here is capable of 240,000 component placements per hour. Therefore, if you have a standard 8,000 component reel, you're going to need to change the reel every 2 minutes. Rather than the operator running around trying to figure out which one to change, they'll be notified of which ones they need to do next.
No more runaround.
No more runaround.
So you can always see which part is the next one that needs to be replenished. That keeps the line running, right? It optimizes uptime. Show us, if you will, how you actually refill a part.
Well, that's quite simple, actually. If you select the track with the PDA, and you go to scan it in, you might have heard a beeping sound out of Jason's PDA, and you'll also get an indication above on the user interface. It says, that part number does not go at this location. To correct that situation, you simply scan in the correct part. It goes from blue to green again, problem resolved, and we're ready to go.
Excellent. So far we've seen how we can, using the SIM and the PDA, use optimized inventory input, offline verification, materials replenishment, and the changeover. Tell us a little more about this hit list. I know it does a lot more than what we just talked about. How can it guide the operator to be more efficient?
It's a really powerful tool. In fact, it can notify the operator of any event that might result in a line stoppage. For example, if an operator inadvertently pulls out a feeder that's being used by the current setup, the PDA will show that that feeder has been removed. It shows it in red, as you see above on the user interface. To correct that situation, simply slide the feeder back into position, select the track, scan the reel in to re-verify.
Excellent. So far, what we've seen is you've shown us how the system prevents an operator from putting a part in the wrong place. That's a good thing. You've shown us how an operator is alerted should the line stop or there are any alerts. How can you use the system to isolate parts that should no longer be used in production?
Well, that's the quarantine function of SIM. The quarantine function can be activated from the SIM console. Once the quarantine function is activated, if a part is being used by an active setup, it automatically deactivates the feeder and shows it in red, so no more parts will get placed on that board immediately. Secondly, on the PDA, it shows it in blue as being deactivated. Thirdly, when the operator tries to scan in that part, it will tell the operator, hey, this part has been quarantined.
Okay, so SIM software, in other words, operators are going to be proactively alerted through this PDA via the SIM software to see every significant event that occurs on the line. So as a result, you can quickly respond without stopping the machine. So that's going to maximize your uptime. Of course, it's going to minimize the non-productive time, optimize throughput. One last question. How many machines can you connect to the PDA?
Well, that's a great feature. It can be individually customized to meet anybody's individual needs. For example, the refill function can be set up to notify the operator of any part that needs to be refilled throughout the entire factory, or simply connected to one machine or one line.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ken, for that demo. Appreciate the input, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the world's fastest changeover.